Alright, we're going to gather some sap from the maple trees to make maple syrup. This is how we do it. This is a sugar maple tree. They grow here in Massachusetts. They also grow in Wisconsin. And this is how you get sap out of it. This is just a lid to keep the rain out. And there's a bucket here hanging on something called a tap. And you can see dripping out of that tap a clear liquid that looks mostly like water. And it's a lot like water. But that is the sap of the maple tree. If I take the bucket off, you can see what the spout looks like. I just drilled a hole in the tree and then I hammered this in. Doesn't hurt the tree. And the sap just drips out and it gets collected in this bucket. And then once or twice a day, this bucket gets filled up, depending on the weather, and then we'll empty it. The sap only flows when it's below freezing at night and above freezing during the day. When that happens, the sap flows up and down the tree, and it comes out the tap and into the bucket, and then we get to collect it. So let's see how much we have in this bucket. It was cold last night, so we have some ice. And a big hunk of ice. I'm gonna let that ice melt. Put the lid back on so we don't get rainwater in there. Let's check our next bucket. We have sap there too. I'm going to collect that. From another tap. I'm going to go around to all the trees that we have taps on. I have 13 taps, which isn't very many compared to a large maple syrup producer, but I get a lot of sap. Right now I have about 35 gallons of sap. And that will make about 1 gallon only of maple syrup. Okay, let's go to our next tree and get some sap. Let's see how much we got in this one. Oh, there's a lot of ice still. It was a really cold night last night. It was only 20 degrees, so a lot of the sap is frozen. Most of this is frozen, so we're not getting very much. It's running. That's okay. Nothing bad happens. If it's frozen, it'll just thaw out, and we'll be able to collect it once it does. This might have more because it's in the sun. That's pretty frozen too. Alright, you can see it dripping. And you can drink that if you want. It just tastes basically like water with a slightly sweet taste. A lot of people think it tastes just like water, but it has a little bit of sugar in it, which will turn into the maple syrup. Now we're back at the quote-unquote sugar shack, or the carport as it really is, and we've got our sap, and I have a big storage container here, and I'm going to pour what I just collected in, and it's going to be in there with all the other sap I got. You can see that there's a lot in there. And then over here is my evaporator. That's just a big steel tank. It's got a thermometer in it that tells me when the syrup is ready. And underneath it is a gas stove, and that's heating it up. And the sap gets poured into that through this screen, because that will screen out bugs and twigs and leaves and stuff. And there's some ice in there now from what sap I collected earlier. And so we'll just add the sap to the evaporator. You can see the color of what's in the evaporator. It's a little hard to see because of all the steam, but the color of it looks an awful lot like maple syrup, and that's because it almost is maple syrup. It needs to cook a little while longer. And when it's all done, I open this up and put a jar under it, and the syrup flows out into the jar, and then we eat it. And that's how you make maple syrup.